Former sheriff and pardoned convict Joe Arpaio isn't done being in the news. He is now going to be running in the Republican Senate primary race to fill the seat vacated by Jeff Flake, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, so he wants to be the next senator from the great state of Arizona. And he's given some quotes about some of the things he'd like to do if he were to get into office. We've been talking about immigration. We'll continue to because that's one of his plans. Here's what he says. I have a far out plan which may look stupid. Well, let's see. When they come to your attention that they're here illegally, these young people, deport them back to Mexico or whatever, and then try to put them on a fast track to come back to the United States legally with special permits. What's wrong with that? They'd say they don't know where their home country is because some of them have literally never been there or haven't been there in 18 years. So let them go there and spend 6 months because it might take that long to do paperwork to get them here legally, and let them see their home country and see what it's really like. That would be no amnesty. Everybody would be happy. You deport them and then let them come back with all their education here. I'm sure they could find a temporary job or help the foreign countries and build up relations and come back. That's just a big picture that I have. People may say I'm crazy. What am I crazy about? It just makes sense.
He opened with, it may look stupid, and ends with, it just makes sense. So that's really, those are his words.
Well, one of those is right, I think. I'll let the audience decide. So yeah, these young people that they don't necessarily have any family they know of there, they have no actual memories of this place, they can find a temporary job, deport them for 6 months or a year. What's the difference? Who wouldn't like that?
He loves attention. He's 85 years old, right?
He would be the 86-year-old freshman junior senator from Arizona.
Who literally said that he should be elected because they need fresh blood. He needs fresh blood to last through his first term.
Senate terms are 6 years long.
Yeah.
6 years long. Anyway, look, I know that people probably get really uncomfortable when I bring up age, but I don't care. 85? No, Feinstein, same situation. Time to retire.
She's 84,
give someone
correct?
else. She's 84, yes, but say around the same age. Look, I really want young people to become inspired enough to, first of all, go to the polls and vote. But more importantly, or just as importantly, go out there and get involved in politics, run. We do need fresh blood, right? And we need people who have a new vision for the country. Arpaio is not an example of that. He's just not an example of that.
To break the politics down here in a sort of in a duller but maybe more interesting way than Anna just did. I mean, the difference between Feinstein and Arpaio would be that Feinstein at 84 is a multi-term senator who has leadership, and and the way the seniority in the Senate works, she has greater influence than a Joe Arpaio would have on his first day. So it's not totally fair to compare the two of them, but you do need younger people coming in here because these are issues that affect younger people. So you talk about immigration.
He's literally talking about young people.
He's literally talking about young people, and that's where they need it. Also, Arizona's a tricky state right now. This is, as you said, Jeff Flake's seat. Kelli Ward, who is a Trump acolyte there in Arizona, is already running in the primary. Arpaio would challenge her, and that would bring possibly Martha McSally, who's kind of a more mainstream Republican, into the race, right? So she comes in, and now she looks a little better because the other two would fight over it, and that would be done with.
The more extremes
would fight with each other, and then Kristen Sinema, the Democrat, would stand to gain a lot by that. The other thing, and it's morbid to talk about, but they may have another Senate election sooner rather than later. Their special election if John McCain, if his illness makes it difficult for him to be a senator anymore. And so you have Arpaio's name in the hat now for potentially 2 Senate races. It's absurd, and they're giving him this space, and it's killing Arizona Republicans.
Well, let's make it a little bit more absurd, because obviously when we've talked about one of the issues, perhaps is his age. I think for a lot of people that will be an issue. There are other issues. So if you've never heard of Joe Arpaio, you don't know anything about him, let's talk about just a few things that I was able to.
You're pardoned for not having heard of him.
Let's see. So as we said, he's a former sheriff. He says the most controversial, toughest sheriff in the country. He was tough in some ways, certainly created tough situations for people, like the many people who killed themselves in his jails because of how terrible the situations there were. Now, some were ruled to be suicides. Others, nearly half of the deaths, as reported by the Phoenix New-Times, were not explained at all. Nearly half of the deaths in his jails were never explained. We don't know what happened there. Let's see. One woman lost her baby due to negligence of the jail staff, and then had a guard protest when the hospital let her see the dead child before the funeral. So she lost the baby. Then they didn't want her to see it in one of his. He once framed an innocent person for an assassination plot against him that his team had invented for publicity. So that's out there. Let's see. His SWAT team once conducted a raid on a house expecting to find a weapons cache, only they had gotten the wrong house. But that's not where it ends. They burned the house down in the process and then forced the family's dog, which was trying to escape, back into the house.
Oh my God.
Where it was burned to death.
Okay.
There's a lot of lighter stuff too. Those are some of the standout things that Joe Arpaio has done, which might be coming to the Senate in the near future. But in terms of the stakes, you pointed out some of the political calculations. Arizona is a state where Trump won by 4 points. On that same night, Arpaio lost. So if he does become the candidate, this is one of, if the Democrats are going to take control, a needed pickup opportunity. Arpaio, as terrible as he is, like Roy Moore, might drastically increase the odds of getting it.
What you just watched was one of the videos that we do today, but we actually do a whole 2-hour show every single day. It's a podcast. You could watch it in video or listen to it as audio. You can download it, you can stream it, and you get it completely ad-free if you could become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.